Welcome to Crime and Wine. I'm Pamela Fagan Hutchins, your host, and this is the show where I talk with other crime fiction writers about the stories of thrills and suspense that will leave you mystified, sometimes horrified, and always wanting more. Please join me in welcoming today's special guest. Well, guys, it's Pamela Fagan Hutchins here. This is Crime and Wine. I am petting a dog who's whining and crying and wanting to be part of the show. So I apologize in advance for Willet, who is a real pain, and for my level of anger at FedEx right now, because I've been waiting on them all day and they're going to show up while I'm doing this show. And I'm going to just wave to them as they drive away without my signature and my driver's license for my long stay visas to France that were supposed to come today. So blah, blah, gripe, gripe, moan, moan, right? I have good news though. No more of this complaining. My good news is that I have a really fun guest today, a guy that writes stories about basically a former Marine badass who quits the service to, catch sun and look at bikinis, but trouble always seems to have a way of finding him. So really high adventure stuff from my friend, Douglas Pratt. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. I have really enjoyed your books, and I've enjoyed you. You're a lot of fun.
Oh, well, thank you. You were awfully fun too. So it's
when I'm not mad at FedEx, I'm all
when
right.
You're not mad at, well, I get that. I used to work for FedEx here, so and I get it.
Oh, well, see, I wish you worked. Oh, Charlene, thank you. That my hair looks great. I love Charlene.
Well, not my hair. You can tell that. So.
Yeah. Where'd your hair go, Doug?
Oh, I take it off every day.
Do you shave?
I do shave it. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Otherwise, it actually get really thick, and so. But it's nice to have it. Yeah.
So, are there any pictures out there on the internet of Doug with hair?
Well, I should show you my driver's license because it has my driver's license has full hair, of shaggy beard, and I look like I might have been the Unabomber. It's rough looking. So whenever I show my driver's license, the guy at the liquor store always goes, "Wow, is this really you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can't help it." And I was like about 80 pounds heavier that time, so I looked like, no, I don't think so.
Oh my God, that is hysterical. I can't even imagine you like that. So later you're going to have to send me a picture of your driver's license.
I'll show you. Yeah, it's something fierce. It's maybe have it on me. Huh?
So does Chase, your series, Chase Gordon, does he have a shaved head? Does he have big hair?
He doesn't have a shaved head. I don't really talk about him much, but in my head, I'm like, he's got short hair, not shaved, and probably he's clean shaven for the most part. So he's in my head. Yeah, that's what I look at. So
yeah, he's a former Marine.
He's a former Marine. So and by the time he left out of the Marines, he was a lieutenant. So he doesn't quite have the long hair, and he didn't really let it get that long. So
yeah, high and tight, kind of.
Right.
My brother,
high and tight.
Yeah, my brother's a Marine, or was. He's totally retired now. He retired a full bird colonel. We're very proud of him.
Oh, wow.
His hair is still quite short.
Well, he probably still he's still a Marine. I'm sure if you ask him, he'd be like, "I'm still a Marine." So
exactly. And is that how Chase is? Is he always going to be a Marine in his heart?
Very much. I think, and I was not in the service, so a lot of my expertise on that is limited, and I've done some research. But most of the Marines I know are, once they're out, they're still Marines. They don't really, they don't leave the service. So
yeah, it's a full indoctrination.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a big part of who he is, and a lot of what he talks about is he goes back to his experience as a Marine and in the Corps. So,
well, that's a great segue for, in your own words, tell us about the series, how it came about, what the vibe is, and lead us into your new release.
Okay. Well, so it's Chase Gordon he's like I said, he's a former Marine. He was a Marine Recon and Special Forces, and he came out and currently is a part-time bartender in South Florida, living in West Palm Beach, working at a fictional hotel and bar where he also has a marina that keeps his boat, and he lives on a boat called Carina, and that's he kind of gets out. So sometimes we're in Florida, sometimes we're in the Bahamas. It gives him an opportunity to go anywhere in the Caribbean and kind of cruise around and find trouble.
Okay.
So it's very much
Finding trouble is his specialty.
Very good at that. Yes. Yeah.
And I'm thinking about a Marine lieutenant. Does he have a nice boat? How did he come about having this boat?
Well, it's what he has is a Tartan 40, which is a nice enough boat. Most people don't realize, like, you can get all sorts of boats. I have a boat as well. We have a sailboat that we keep on the Gulf, and it's there's a range of boats, just like cars and houses. So you can have some really, really nice ones. This is probably a nice middle of the road boat that could run him anywhere around 30 to 50,000, but perfectly good for sailing the seas on. So
yeah, and if it's your liveaboard too, it's cheap housing.
It's cheap housing, yeah, and he can pick it up and move it anywhere. So it's kind of the dream right there. So
it sounds pretty nice. I was telling Doug earlier that my husband and kids and we're all about to go on a catamaran trip through the BVI's, and I have this funny feeling that my husband's going to be talking to me, and my husband's born and raised in the Virgin Islands, so this is
right. Yes.
I have a feeling we're going to be talking about Caribbean locales, and
I would think hard about it. It's hard not to. It's
I think it's going to get back under his skin.
That ocean can call you pretty good. Like it's definitely
and it calls you, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. Absolutely. I love it. We just, other than just like houses, there's always something I have to do on the boat. There's always, there's always work that has to be done. But it doesn't matter because when you have a boat like that, I call it like there's a suck fun factor. So as long as you have more fun than it sucks, then you're doing pretty well. So,
well, we always used to say that the best boat is the one your friend owns, but
that's true. Yeah, that's always
when you don't have to work on. But oh well. Yeah.
Boats have always been my weakness. So like if you wanted to kidnap me, like, you pulled up in a John boat and, hey, you want to go for a ride, Doug? I'd be like, sure. I love riding boats. I would ride on a boat. Yeah. You could be a stranger. I grew up on power boats. I grew up water skiing and on lakes around Tennessee and Arkansas. But yeah, just you put me on a boat and I'm happy as a
all it would take is a John boat. That's pretty
John boat. Yes. So it could be a raft. I'd be like, sure. That sounds like fun.
I love it. So is it safe to say that this series came about because there possibly is a part of you that feels about the water in trouble like Chase does?
Well, I don't really want to get into fights he gets in because he gets beat up a lot. But but yeah, no, I do. I love. It's like I said, I have a sailboat. It's not quite as nice as Chase's, and I don't live on it. But my wife and I spend a lot of time on it, and we'll go down in the Gulf of Mexico and just kind of tool around, anchor out, spend some time out there. So yeah, that's near and dear to my heart, and I kind of want to take it and do some cruising around to the Bahamas and down to the BVI's. Would be so much fun. It'd be great because it mixes a lot of what I want: some diving, some snorkeling, some sailing. So,
but none of this getting beat up or super high.
Yeah, I don't really care about that part. I mean, it's I don't really kill a lot of. He kills a lot of people too, and it's not always the they're justified. He always kills the bad guys, and that's it. But yeah.
But you don't want to kill a lot of people, maybe just a few.
Just a few, one or two. Everybody's got a list. Don't we have a list?
Exactly. We do. Mine's the FedEx guy's on mine today.
But it should be, yeah.
I don't know if you guys just saw, but a very large dog just jumped on the bed behind me. Her name is Willie. We can all say, hi, Willie. Hi, Willie.
Hey, Willie.
Sorry about the dog on your show.
Dogs are great, so it's okay.
If I tried to keep the dog out of here, she'd be on your show even more dramatically. Woo!
Screaming. I get that. Yes. Yeah. We have a couple of dogs at my house, so we're definitely dog people. So
I love it. So now, when you first started writing Chase, was he your first foray into writing fiction?
No, actually, I've got another series, which is I've been writing since I was a kid. And my first series is a Max Sawyer series, and there's 6 books in it. It's kind of a straight up mystery for the most part. It follow. Most of them stick around the South, between
Yeah.
Memphis and Arkansas and Georgia. So he kind of roamed around a little bit, but his were a little straight up mysteries. And Chase was actually kind of a spawn from that, because I had added a character in the later books, of a Marine sniper who was just so much fun to write, because he was just kind of snarky and kind of a badass. And I kind of wanted to have him as kind of the main focus, but also I kind of like the idea of writing in places that if I had to go research it, it's kind of nice and warm. So,
There you go.
So I was like, oh, so I kind of twisted it around and took that character, changed him up a little bit, and dropped him on a boat, and put him in Florida. And I was like, there he goes. So it was, yeah. So that's kind of where he kind of came from. And from that, it's just kind of spawned off different stories as I come along and think about what I can do with him, and what kind of adventures I can take him on. So
What is the most extreme adventure that you've taken him on in the series, or maybe too many to count it now?
So, let's see. In Red Light at Night, actually, it get a little. There's a scene at the end where he's on a submarine, and he basically takes a submarine and races it up Mobile Bay.
Oh gosh.
And so that was a little bit on the extreme, and it was fun, like outrageous kind of fun. That you're like, well, that's just not going to work. But I'm like, I had a good time writing it. So he's gone on adventures. He's gone through chases through the Everglades. I had one book which was Gator Alley, where he is chasing a motorcycle gang through the Everglades, which was kind of fun too, because I got to do some cool stuff with the swamps and alligators. It's always fun to have somebody die by alligator.
If Chase didn't have to kill that one.
He'd have to kill that one. Yeah, that's
Mark one for the good guys. He let the alligator do the work.
He let the alligator do all the work. So
So where do these ideas come from? And after we talk about that, we have to just swing back and really focus in on Red Light, because I forgot to really make sure people knew that the new book, the one that's most recently out, is Red Light at Night. So we'll talk about that in a second. But where the heck do these ideas come from for you?
Well, so I will joke, like sometimes my wife will be doing something. I'm like, oh, it'd be kind of cool if I could kill somebody that way. And then I'll take that idea and figure out what I can do to twist it into a story. Some things, Gator Alley, which was one I was just talking about, was one that I had an idea for a story that just kind of rattled around my head for a long time. And it's also it introduces a character that's spin off to its own series as well. It's called the Corsair series, and he's a former government assassin, but I plopped him down at the beginning as somebody who is just a dad driving his kids through down through Florida, and becomes a victim of a carjacking. And then he also happened to have a little connection to Chase, and that drags Chase into it as well. So that's how I kind of introduced both of those characters into it. It was just a story that had been rattled around. I had this idea of, it started out with, I just want to have a carjacking that went wrong, and somebody go kind of Death Wish, bring out the whole Charles Bronson, and how can I do that? So that was a fun one. And some of the other ones I had was Devil Water, which was one I just I started with the idea of I wanted the title Devil Water, and that's something that when I was a kid growing up, going water skiing and stuff, we always used to joke that Sunday mornings the water was always the best right before you had to go to church, probably because it was like the devil put the water out there, so you're like, oh, we could skip church and go water skiing, it'd be a whole lot better.
What a great.
And so my sister and I always joked about that as kids, and so I had that title. I was like, well, that would be a good title, and so I just kind of put it in the book and started working around the title. How can I make that into a story?
I've done that with the title before, and it was, for me, it was Dead Pile. There was a dead pile in the back of this ranch where they put the dead animals, and I started thinking about that'd be a great place to hide a body that you murder. Just stick it down there, nobody's gonna smell. And so it was like, how can I write a book that's in the title Dead Pile. So I totally get this.
Yes.
Sometimes you back into these things. So
Sometimes.
how about red light at night?
Red light at night, honestly. So red light at night, for people who don't know, red light at night is part of a saying that a lot of sailors use. And it's red light at night. I'm sure I did it right. Red light at night is sailor's delight, which means that generally that if the sky is bright red at night, the next day is going to be beautiful weather. The following part of the saying is red light morning, sailor take warning, is usually if you wake up in the morning and you have a big red sky, that means you probably have a storm coming in. So right there was this little phrase I wanted to have. And I was like, how can I, again, I took that and like, what can I do with that storyline? And so I just kind of put it on there and as the title. And then I eventually went, well, it's not just about that. The whole thing is he's going to be crossing the Gulf, heading to Mexico, and he passes a boat on the water, which when you're out on the Gulf like that, sometimes you go days without seeing a lot of people. So
yeah,
whenever you do pass someone, you're going to jump on the radio and say, hey, how's it going? How's the weather where you're coming from? That kind of thing. And so that exchange happens in the book, and it's in the middle of the exchange, the other yacht explodes. And so,
oh, wow.
And he immediately goes into, because Chase is a hero, he immediately goes into a rescue mode. Unfortunately, there's nobody surviving. So he reports, the accident and continues on his way once the Coast Guard gets there and does his business. The only thing is what happens after that is starts compiling as people start coming to him to find out what he knows about this accident, including the daughter of the man whose boat it was. So he gets dragged into this, the intrigue and mystery behind it. And it follows him through Mexico and down to Cozumel, and so we kind of bounce from location to location. So
the man just can't keep away from trouble.
He can't. So which keeps me busy. So it's all right.
Exactly. So now you mentioned another series a second ago, but you have yet another, if I'm not mistaken,
yes,
with Nick Harvey. But you also have another individually. So you have 3 of your own.
So I have 3 of my own, and then I have one that I do with Nick Harvey. So
one co-write.
One co-write.
And
I'm getting ready to have another one coming up, another co-written one that's a spinoff of the Chase series that will be coming out right now. It looks like September, October. That I've co-written that follows Ricky Talons, who is the female protagonist in Deep Gold, and she's kind of a female treasure hunter, and so she's going to be doing the same thing, taking her boat around and hunting for treasure. So that'll be coming out this fall. So
do you ever sleep or do you ever stop?
I sleep all the time, but I'm always working on something. Like I have several books going at one time. And right now I just put out the Missing in Zanzibar with Nick Harvey. And I just put out my second Corsair book, Midnight Dance. And I haven't started my next Chase book. So I'm kind of in this like little limbo spot where I haven't started a project yet. So that's coming this Monday is like, oh, we got to sit down and start working. So
Donna Wood Summers wants to know when the rest of the Chase Gordon series is coming out on audio.
Oh, well, we are working on the audiobook like a lot of audiobooks. It takes a little bit longer for my narrator to get each book done. And so I've got to write it and get it to him. And then he goes through and slips into his queue of books. So he is currently working on Havana Sunrise, and I don't have an exact because he just finished up Gulf Dreams.
Okay, so
Gator Alley for me. Yeah,
you in the queue that are just about ready to punch out.
Yeah, so he's working on those. Yeah, he goes pretty quick, but it does take a little bit longer. So
we also have someone wanting to know what the first book was in this series.
So the first book in the series was Diamond Reef, and it's this book right here. It takes place. It came out in 2020, but it takes place in Florida, and it kind of introduces Chase, introduces kind of his girlfriend / boss, who is just around for every few books, but they have kind of something of an affair that they have going on, and then and it kind of introduces everything in that one, and moves from there. So.
Very cool. We have someone that likes your Chase books and
thank you.
I think what Katina's really saying is my hair looks better than yesterday. I did a show yesterday where I have, you know, it was bad. And I promised everyone I was going to get my hair done. I did.
Well, it looks very nice.
Oh, thank you. And yours looks like it's not there. We've already.
It's not there. Yeah, we've already talked about it. They'll try to keep the glare off. So
yeah,
nice and smooth. So.
There you go. Well, let's segue into the speed round of questions and throw a few of these at you. So
Okay.
the readers, listeners, viewers can compare the ways in which you are quirky and interesting with the ways in which all the other authors that come on are quirky and interesting. So,
all right.
First of all, where do you write? Do you have a place, a space, an outfit, a playlist?
Yeah, it really depends on where I write. I don't write. I don't write well at home. Like there's just usually too much going on at the house between animals and stuff like that. So oftentimes I'll go find like a nice co-writing space somewhere in town that I can work. It's got decent internet or Starbucks. I'll try to write there for the most part. My wife was working and we would ride into work together because we do, like you, live out in the middle of the country. And so we would ride in together and she would go to work and I'd go just sit someplace and write all day. But now she's not doing that. So now we're struggling to figure out where we're going to sit down because she quit her job to work for me. And now we're just kind of like, yeah, well, let's just go do something else. So, but I won't wear anything special. I just kind of wear my own clothes. So, you know, since I would do it in Starbucks, I'd try to wear pants.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah. 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 I'm glad you told me that because that would be bad.
Right.
So if you were to, for one day, maybe a week, get to be anything else in the world except the writer of the Chase Gordon and other adventure and mystery series, what would that occupation or avocation be?
As an occupation, the only other thing I did a lot of things before I started writing, but the only other thing as a kid that I just really wanted to do was I kind of wanted to be a marine biologist. And that's partly because I love the ocean. Turns out I hate science, so I don't know how I feel about doing it now. So, but
I used to want to be a marine biologist, but I get seasick.
Oh, see, well, you're gonna have fun on this. You're gonna have fun on this catamaran, then.
I mean, oh my God, I'm just going to be the queen of Dramamine and patches. I lived in the Caribbean for a long time, and I have all these memories of like my head bouncing against the, you know, floor of the boat with, yeah, I can't throw up anymore. I'm totally empty. And you get off and you're sick for 3 days, and everyone's like, wasn't that the best trip? And you're like, ask me in a year.
Yeah. Yeah. It does look better a little bit later, but yeah, I get that.
So now if you were to win the lottery or inherit a large sum of money, what would thou do with thou's winnings?
Ooh, I'd buy a bigger boat.
Yeah. Multiple bigger boats, and bigger than a John boat for starters.
Bigger than a John boat. Yeah, bigger than a little bit more roomier than one I got. So something like that. That could be, I'd probably buy a nice
port.
Yeah. So it's a nice bigger boat. So that like right now, our boats, I love our boat, but sometimes when my wife and I are the only ones on it, we're still like sitting on top of each other. So maybe one big enough that I don't bug her as much. So.
There you go.
She never bugs me. It's only the other way around. So
you're afraid she's watching right now, aren't you?
Oh no, I know she's watching. But that's all right. I did warn her I might talk about her. So it's okay.
My husband always watches these after the fact, and he just watches to make sure that I mention him. Like, do you still love me? Did you talk about me on the show? Yes, honey. So now we both get credit, right? We're like,
yeah.
About you.
That's right.
Everybody knows.
Yeah.
All right. So when it comes to the process of writing, is there a part of it that you love more than the others? Like research, outlining, brainstorming, first draft, rewrites?
So I tend to write, I do some research. I tend to research as I go. Like I'll get an idea. And sure, kind of like nowadays, the way we publish, at least the way I publish, is I put a book out and then I set the next one up for pre-order immediately, even if I don't know what I'm going to write about yet. Like I can create the title, and I'll come up, and I may have a very basic premise generally, but I'll write the rest of it later and kind of build on that as I go. So I'll start with kind of at least very basic premise, and then I just start writing as I go. I used to be a 100% pantser. I am now probably a little bit of both. I'll write a few chapters to kind of get a feel for the story. Then I'll outline 10 chapters and write to that point. I should outline all the way, but I like the writing part. So that's the part I love the best. So while I enjoy creating the story and outlining the story, so I get the beats down, I do kind of like the idea of actually getting into it and writing the fun part, which is like, I love dialogue. Dialogue is, I could just write dialogue like all day long, because to me it's the best part.
Me too. I've just read a chapter in a new book, and it's like, I don't even think I put any exposition in whatsoever. It's just like reads like a screenplay. It's like, oh wow, require some after work. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah. Well, this has been, as I expected, a lot of fun. And I don't know if everyone can hear what's happening outside. It is not the FedEx van. It is 6 ORVs. We run a guest lodge, and they're all coming back from the mountains. So that, wow, that's just my life. That's just the chaos that surrounds my life. I apologize for that. And my dog and my FedEx guy.
Well, never apologize for your dog. He was cute.
She actually looked pretty good back there.
She did. She looked very nice. She was all sitting regal and stuff on the bed, like she's supposed to be there.
Exactly. Yeah. She can if she could hold that pose and not start this, we'd be good. So you guys, the book to be looking for if you're going to start the series is Diamond Reef. Yes. If you are wanting, I will say that for the most part, you can pick up anywhere in the book. And in a series that while there's a little bit of carryover, I do try to make it as standalone as I can for each book. That's good. So if you picked up book 3, you'll get the gist of it, and then you can go back. So don't feel bad if you're like, oh, he's got one on sale. So they can pick their favorite title or whichever one's favorite title, the newest one. And the new one is Red Light at Night.
Red Light at Night, yes.
And expect boats blowing up and submarines racing at Mobile Harbor.
Fun. It's a lot of action. We're talking about, there's some scuba diving. There's lots of stuff going on in it. So
it sounds like the book I need to be taking with me to the BVI.
Yes, it'd probably be perfect. Yeah.
Very cool. That's what
I'll send you a copy there.
Thank you. Well, again, thanks for coming, and I hope I will talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Okay, you guys. So that is Douglas Pratt, the series. At least the series we're talking about today is the Chase Gordon series. He writes a lot of them. Charlene says that she loved Diamond Reef, by the way. Good. I'm so glad to hear that. I think you told me that in group today. And I'm so glad to hear when you guys read the books that I recommend. So let me tell you why I recommend these books. Besides that, you can tell that Doug is funny and he's fun and he loves adventure and he comes to it from a place of authenticity as it's a life that he's lived, although without the killing people. If you enjoy reading the kind of adventure that you get on land with my Patrick Flint books, that is going to be something that you're going to enjoy in his books. If you enjoy the exotic locations in my Caribbean books, that's something that you're going to get in his books. So either of those vibes, if they speak to you, you should be checking out Diamond Reef. You should be reading through Red Light at Night. That's just what I'm saying. I do now have to tell you that this has been the big year of Pamela. I've written 6 books that are coming out. 4 have already been released. Skin and Bones, that's number 8 in Patrick Flint. The first 3 in Delaney Pace. Her Silent Bones, Her Hidden Grave, Her Last Cry. My next one to come out is going to be Her Forgotten Shadow, which is number 4 in the Delaney Pace series. And then I am still writing, God help me finish this book, the Walker Prairie, which is going to come out right before Thanksgiving. And that's going to be the second Jen Harrington book. You can find my books in all formats on my site, except for Delaney Pace, which is exclusive to Amazon. And when you're out there, you can check out past shows. And, you know, maybe you want to go back and watch a CJ Box episode from 5 years ago. Cool. You can do it from my site. The thing I always have to tell you, this is what you all are waiting for, I know. Crime and Wine is a solely owned and copyrighted production of Authors on the Air Global Radio Network. That's a digital media group with over 4 million listeners and viewers in 153 plus countries. I have done it. I have made it all the way through the show without committing any grave technical errors to my knowledge at this point. I do have one more person who wants to say that they enjoyed watching. And I'm so glad I clicked on that comment to see that that's one of my best friends from high school and forever. Hi, Stephanie. So everyone, I'm going to see you next week. We are going to be talking to Margaret Mizushima about her Timber Creek Canine series. And I can't wait. I'll see you then. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us today on Crime and Wine, chats with crime fiction authors and Pamela Fagan Hutchins. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll check back in with us next time for more thrills, suspense, and stories that will mystify, sometimes horrify, and always leave you wanting more.